The AFP is reporting on a new scientific finding that I view as strangely ironic, and I'll explain why later. They say, quote, "A mass grave containing at least 26 human skeletons discovered in Germany shows that conflict in Neolithic Europe some 7,000 years ago could be horrifically brutal, with victims tortured and mutilated." They continue, "The discovery adds fresh evidence to the theory that mass violence played a crucial role at the beginning of the Neolithic era. Evidence to date suggests that massacres of entire communities were not isolated occurrences, but were rather frequent. The skulls of many of the skeletons were smashed in by violent blows, in addition to arrow injuries that may have killed or immobilized the victims. Unique to the new site is the discovery of skeletons with significant trauma in their lower legs, indicating that they were tortured or mutilated before or after death. The study speculates that a clash over resources, possibly exacerbated by drought, could have sparked conflict between groups." Okay, so, why did I say this is ironic? Do I even need to give my reasoning here? You should already see it. They keep talking about violence in the past tense. Like, oh, come on, primitive humans. These motherfuckers were savages. Do you see what they did to each other? Yeah. Did you see the CIA report, which was just released? Again, it's hilarious to me that, obviously the people who wrote the article are smart people. Obviously the researchers and the scientists involved are smart people. But they're like dinging it up, and they're like, oh, sweet Jesus. These guys did war. They did fighting and torture. I'm appalled. As if today we have it all figured out. They came up with a new form of torture recently. The CIA did. I got news for everybody listening to this. Anal feeding is not a thing. I love how they said it on the news as if it was like some thing that's existed forever. They're like, well, yeah, see, the CIA engaged in anal feeding when the people wouldn't eat their food. Whoa, 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 whoa. When you talk to experts, they're like, anal feeding is not real. It's not a thing that people do. So what did they really do? They anally raped prisoners with a tube and shoved liquid food up there. It led to blisters and lesions and internal bleeding and all these problems. They anally raped people and then shoved food up there. That's insanity. And the amount of liquid food that was up there, in all seriousness, is probably even worse than just flat out raping them. It's a crazy thing to say, but it's true. No, come on, man, come on, this is insane. So we did that, we did sleep deprivation, we did mock burials, we did hypothermia torture where people died. We said certain people told prisoners, I'm going to rape your mom, I'm going to rape your sister, I'm going to kill your family. We did all this stuff. We implemented physical pain on people, of course we did. And this is America today, the people who say, oh, the beacon of hope and freedom. But understand, I don't even just want to single out the Americans today on this, because what? It's not like there are not other regimes that are doing torture and doing war. Of course there are. If you dig up evidence, however many years in the future, let's say humans somehow get down to a very tiny, there's only a couple humans left, and then somehow we rebound, and all the evidence of today is gone for a long time, and they're doing archaeology way out in the future, and they find, sites from Syria or Iraq today. You know what they'll find? Mass graves from ISIS beheading people and killing people. And what are they going to say then? Woo! These primitive humans, they're so violent, so violent. Yeah, we've been violent all along. Now understand, is it true that when you look at all the data, there's an argument to be made that, well, the violence has decreased for this reason and that reason, and if you look at it this way, it's a little bit better, so keep that in perspective? Absolutely, I'm not denying that, and who is it? Steven Pinker, is it? A guy who's way more intelligent than me is a guy who argues this, so far be it from me to say he's wrong. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, I find it hilarious that we have this tone of condescension, as if, we figured it all out, and them. They did torture and war. Us today, we don't do that. Even though we invaded Iraq in 2003, it was an offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. We invaded Afghanistan. We're still in Afghanistan, even though we defeated Al-Qaeda, and we said that was the reason to go in there. We're doing drone strikes in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. As of right now, putting America aside, we got a war going on in South Sudan. We got a war going on in the Congo. We have how many countries that have implemented Sharia, which is basically a war on your own population if you're going to fucking behead people for being gay, and you're going to kill a woman for showing her face, or whatever the case is. Yes, we're still very, 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 very violent, and this is an unearned tone of condescension. I'm sure they were violent back then, but we also are today, and bottom line, and the whole point I'm doing this is, I want people to recognize that so we can stop being violent. Like, I want people to acknowledge how violent and terrible we are so we can stop doing that. We acknowledge the problem, we fix the problem, and we embrace an ideology of peace. We embrace an ideology of trying our absolute best to solve problems through negotiation and compromise, which some may say we do, and in theory they might be dedicated to that principle, but in practice we certainly are not. So we should try to go down that path.